Hello and welcome to this training video on how to get started using Wagepoint. My name is Jennie Moore and I am pleased to show you how simple it is to get started using this simple payroll application. The first thing you need to do is go to www.wagepoint.com. What you should see is a screen very similar to this. In this section, you would simply enter your email address and select the green Get Started button. The following screen is pretty easy peasy. You'll enter your normal information as well as a password. Review the terms of use and again select the Get Started button. From here you'll be led to a portal which will look very similar to this. This is my demo company called Jennie's Cupcakes, mainly because I have a fetish with cupcakes. You'll notice up here that there are several tabs. You'll notice company, which is the main focus today for us to get started your company using Wagepoint. We have employees, banking, payroll, and reports. Today we are going to cover company, which is setting up the company using Wagepoint. We're going to then go to banking, which I'll assist you on how to verify your bank account, and then we'll follow up on adding your first employee. Let's get started under the Company tab. From here, you're going to need some information. You're going to need your Canada Revenue Agency number, and if you're in the province of Quebec, you'll need your Revenu Quebec numero. So to get started, you'll require your legal company name. This is the legal company name that's on file with Canada Revenue Agency. If you're operating as a slightly different company name under that legal name, you can input that company name here. Follow through with the rest of the contact information and address. Note that if you are an accounting professional, this is the information for your client. This is not your information as an accounting professional, perhaps doing the payroll for your client. This is your client's information that you are filling out. Enter in the CRA number, if applicable, the Revenu Quebec number, as well as if there is a remittance schedule that is different from the non-accelerated. So if you're accelerated threshold 1 or 2, always please be sure to look at the bottom right-hand corner and save your changes. Now let's go to deduction types. Deductions, there could be various deductions employees may have on their specific paychecks. You can select to add a deduction here, in which there are several defaults. Don't be afraid here. If you do not see a specific deduction that you have that is a requirement for your organization, what I need you to do is to email support@wagepoint.com, indicate what the deduction type is and whether it is to be deducted after tax, deduct after CPP, after EI, or not. Please allow a couple of days for this to be initiated within your portal. It's very important that this is done correctly. Okay, same thing for income types. There's several income types other than payroll that an employee may have. You'll see that there's some defaults here, which are bonus, final pay, etc. But let's say you have an additional income type. Very similar to the deduction types, there are some defaults here. Again, please don't fret. If you don't see the income type you require, again, email support@wagepoint.com. You'll need to indicate what the name of the income type is and indicate if it's taxable, if it's pensionable, insurable, etc. Okay, pay groups is a wonderful little tidbit that I like using for some of the clients that we have. Most commonly, let's take the restaurant industry. If we want to separate pay groups by, let's say, the kitchen staff versus the wait staff, you can create two different pay groups to do that, which is nice for the reports that will be covered in an additional video. Okay, company holidays. If you are not already aware, Wagepoint can automatically calculate the statutory pay for your employees. It's wonderful. To do that though, if you are setting up a new client or if you are a new client to Wagepoint, you'll need to load the stat holiday days. Now, if you prefer to calculate them manually, that's okay too, and you can also have the option to remove them should you wish. Again, once you add the statutory days, please review the company holidays and remove anything that's not applicable. For instance, if I'm in the province of Ontario, I do not want statutory pay for family days, BC only applied to the employees, and I would delete that accordingly. Now, this is another little showstopper for you. Under the More tab, you'll see ROE authorization. Yes, folks, record of employment authorization. So what you can do if you so elect to do so is you can have Wagepoint represent your client or yourself with Service Canada to prepare records of employment on your behalf. It's a wonderful process if the employee has already had a payroll process through Wagepoint. It's very important. It's a wonderful process. You just get started here. There's step-by-step instructions on how to e-sign the document. It's important to have a contact information. Again, remember that in the company information tab, I said it was very important to have that Canada Revenue Agency number and the correct legal name. It is vital that that is correct in order for the ROE web authorization to be processed. It's a wonderful process. Okay, let's get started. So we've covered the company tab and all of the required information. The next thing you're likely needing to do is to verify the company's bank account. It's a good practice to give yourself, I would say, at least 1 week, if not 2, which is what we use in our practice, to make sure the bank is verified properly. There's a couple of reasons we want to do this. One is just simple compliance. We want to make sure that the bank account is linked to that organization. The other thing is we want to make sure it is the correct bank account because funds are going to be withdrawn from that particular bank account. We want to make sure it's set up properly. A couple of things you will need in order to ensure your banking information is verified correctly is a void check. Now, if your organization is paperless, like many organizations that are out there, not to worry. Please instruct your client, or if you are the client, to please go to the bank and ask for specific banking information. You will need, obviously, the bank name should be self-sufficient for you, but the transit number and the account number. A word to the wise, please. If you're thinking that you can get this information through online banking, please be very careful with the documentation you are getting. If it's a pre-authorized debit form, that is wonderful. It will likely give you all the information you require. However, please note that some online banking organizations do not have the full transit number. And if you use that transit number with validating your bank account, it could cause a delay. So I suggest it's a best practice to always get a void check or some sort of formal documentation from your bank in order to verify that the account is correct. You want to confirm that this is for a business account. Upload in PDF format only the void check or supporting documentation. And of course, review the pre-authorized debit agreement, etc., and save. What will happen next is Wagepoint in the back end is going to go through a validation process. They're going to check things like the business name, the banking information itself. And then once that goes through that compliance process, they'll put a micro deposit, which means a small amount of money, usually under $1, if you will go into your client's bank account or your bank account if you are the end user. It's important for you to monitor the bank account because you're going to want to know what that 2-digit amount is. And you will put it here as the validation. So this is a way to complete the validation process. This process must be completed before you run your first payroll. So it is absolutely essential that you do this as soon as possible. Okay, let's say we've done all that, and the next thing we need to do is set up our employees. Now, if you are not aware already, over and above employees, you can have contractors as well paid through Wagepoint. It's a great process as well. So we're just going to get started here by adding an employee. You can put in the name here. Let's say it's Jennie Moore. You would put in the province. Let's say it's on Prince Edward Island. Great folks there as well. Well, let's just put Ontario. Let's say my pay rate is $15 an hour and my hire date is maybe August 1st. Again, this is for hourly, the pay type, you can see it here. But let's say, no, it's salary. Okay, it's yearly amount. Well, then maybe we can put in, let's say $60,000 here as an amount here. Okay, and we can save. So you can set up employees whether they're hourly or salary. Now you're going to be guided to a next screen here with lots more information. You'll input the regular information, date of birth, hire date, social insurance number. You'll want the contact information for the employee. If they have a specific job, you can have multiple job types, which is wonderful. But this is the primary job assignment, and it's a salary of $60,000. You can review the the vacation section here. Maybe it's accrue each pay. Maybe it's paid out each pay. Maybe you want to override the percentage. Maybe you're feeling a little more charitable and want 10%. You'll have to relate to what is specific to your specific province. Okay, tax information as well. Which code that they relate to. Now, some or owners of organizations are EI exempt. That's where you would put this in. Some individuals may already be CPP exempt, or maybe for some other reason. So you could select the amounts here. Again, direct deposit, super important. If you are dealing with your employees, I find it's a best practice, again, to ask for a void check or something official from the bank account. Because it's not ever a fun story to not have their pay directly deposited into their bank account. You will get a warning from Wagepoint that the deposit could not take place, but for the employee, let's save them that grief and have that information already available, please. So you just simply add the bank account. If you choose, if you are going to do direct deposit, that is, you would do this. You can have up to 4 bank accounts that pay can be allocated to. It's quite lovely. Again, you're going to put in the branch number, the account number, and all the information here, whether it's checking or savings, and you would save the account. Now, there's a couple other sections here, depending on the type of employee. Remember, we added income and deduction types under the company tab. If we had them here, we can add them in as well. Same with deductions. Now, if you're adding an employee mid-calendar year, you're likely needing to put in the year-to-date amounts. That's where you would put these amounts here. So if you're switching payroll providers, or maybe you've done manual payroll, whatever the case is, it's very important to have those year-to-date amounts and put them here so that we don't over-contribute CPP, EI, all that good stuff here. So make sure you do that and save. And there you go. Now, if we go back to employees here, what you will notice is I have been set up as Jennie Moore. And oh, you know what? I did not put in my email address. And had I put in my email address, it's very important to do that right here to obtain the employee's email address. Because what you're going to do next is you're going to invite them. They're going to have their own employee portal. They will sign in, create their own password, and through that portal, they're going to be able to see their pay stubs. They're going to be able to see their T4s. They'll be able to change things like their mailing address if they move, and it's a great portal, and I strongly suggest that you obtain the email addresses for all employees that you represent and ensure that they use the portal to obtain their pay stubs, because it is a compliance item as well. And there you go. That is how easy it is to get yourself started using Wagepoint. Have yourself a fabulous day.